Monday, and it's your girl Candy Kaylin.
Your boy Shout Time Shout.
And it's time to,
Pull up.
guys, every Monday here on Pull Up the Podcast, we talk sports.
News, hip hop.
We don't talk about people.
We just give you the facts.
So, technically, not every Monday, just some Mondays, Mr. Shaw. Pull Up Nation, we apologize. Okay? Bear with us. We are only humans that work jobs, okay? But we had to come back because Mr. Shaw, it is tourney time. We always have tourney time conversations. The Oscars occurred last night. The Oscars occurred last night. We got to talk about that. We've got to talk about college basketball, coaching changes, shakeups. And I want to share some advice that I think is good sports advice since I'm a coach, but I also think it's good life advice that we've gotten from listening to one of my favorite podcasts, Pivot Podcast. Okay? So, Mr. Shaw, how have you been? It seems like we haven't done this in forever.
And I got no complaints, man. Another day. It's just another day. Another day creating content. Why not? Why not?
Okay. And it's the content aspect that we love, what keeps us coming back. So, just to get us started, the NCAA tournament. Listen, for those of you who follow us, we know a lot of our bases H-Town. Houston has been rocking the last few weeks. The rodeo, Bun B performing, LaToya Luckett was down there. You're also getting the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
You're also getting the tournament. And as much as we hated, Texas Southern again got the play-in game. Howard didn't have to get a play-in, right? So you get this tournament down here. You get the national championship down there in April. And even gyms like Texas Southern get used, right, Mr. Shaw? So shout out to Houston for being the tourney site for the men's tournament this year. And shout out to, not really shout out to Texas Southern, but it's always, we don't root for you, but we do root for you type thing. Because they are in the play-in game on Thursday, which is always good for the city, right? The university, when we're talking about historically black colleges and universities, where they got the play-in game, Howard automatically went into the tournament, but Howard picked up the number 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
So, for those of you...
number 1 seed, too.
You say who did?
They gonna get the number 1 seed, too.
On the other side of the bracket, they do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they got a play-in game against Farley Dickinson, which I feel like they can win. To get a chance, because they do. Texas Southern shows up at the right time. So they've actually didn't have the best season, but they won the SWAC championship. Plus, it brings attention and notoriety for the tournament with Texas Southern because Shaquille O'Neal is on that team.
And they still playing. They playing higher competition when they playing outside of their conference. So you got to respect that from Texas Southern, all the SWAC schools, but. Big shout out to Texas Southern for getting in. You gotta respect that. They got
right. And as you said, the tournament, the level of play, right? So you have rough seasons. I think sometimes people don't understand.
Everybody has rough seasons.
Right. But if I got Florida on my schedule or the University of Texas on my schedule, even if I lose, that's harder on your body because I got to play harder. Like the competition level changes. So if I get that early on, I may have not the best start in conference play because I'm tired from playing at a higher level early in the season. And then we get to recover. Mm-hmm. And so by the end of the season, they're able to show up and do what they do to get into the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got to respect their head coach, his third SWAC championship, with the ability to understand how to create the strength of schedule, how to put your guys out there with competition early on so that they are aware of how to compete at that level. Because there is a separation. Is that my bell to move on?
No.
So, moving on. For those of you who didn't know, you can use the ESPN.com to pick your bracket and electronically pick your bracket. I got University of Houston winning it all. Lining up against Alabama. Those have been two of the biggest teams. But the tournament always creates spoilers. What do you think, Mr. Shaw?
I don't know. We don't want to see. See, this is the crazy thing. Our first game is against Providence. Providence best player Went to Kentucky last year. Bryce Hopkins is gonna come out fiery. He gonna be on our neck. He met he it was already said when he left. He felt like Cal limited what he could do. At Providence, he able to shit just play. So I feel like Bryce Hopkins is gonna come out. I'm taking him because I know he gonna get 30. He gonna have a game. He already in Kentucky. He averaged. He was afraid to make mistakes. He ain't afraid. He finna come out here. He gonna hit shots. He gonna talk shit to Cal and the whole staff. He gonna if we lose to Providence, I'm not gonna be mad. I'm not gonna be mad. The NCAA did that for real. Like, oh, Bryce Hopkins with her. He's been balling. We're gonna get them out the tournament real quick. So Bryce Hopkins gonna come to play on Friday, and we gotta weather the storm. We gotta have Oscar and everybody else come to play. I always believe Kentucky. They're a good team. It's always trying to put pieces together, trying to see what works and what fits. You got players who get hurt and whatnot, but I still trust my squad. Duke looked nice. They won the ACC tournament.
Came back, wasn't having the best.
And Virginia was nice. And this is Shire's first season. So, had to be something to watch. They've been playing by Arizona got a monster. Adonis Stibalas. He's been nasty all season long. So watch out for the Pac-12. It's gonna be good. I don't know what mid-major is gonna give trouble. That I can't. I stopped looking at the brackets because it's like something gonna get busted quick.
Right. So and you do it for fun at this point, right? Because like it is almost impossible to have a perfect
bracket. Look good this year. Texas didn't look good this year.
I'm not impressed.
With who?
Texas.
I mean, I'm not saying that they're gonna win the tournament. I'm just saying that they're a team that look good this year. Like Trace Jackson, something I forget. I think he goes to Wisconsin. He gonna be nice. It's a lot of teams that got players because college basketball is about players.
Yep, I agree.
Right? You might have a good team, but you gonna have one star player that can just get his when he want to. So like we're gonna see the tournament. We're gonna say, hey, look, we're gonna get to see. By the round of 32, I start saying, oh, I think this is gonna be the Final Four. This is gonna be the last two. But right now, you just got to see how people come out.
Right. And can you carry that momentum, right? So I'm reading for Houston because the Sasser, there's a Metroplex kid down there at the University of Houston. What do you have left in the tank is what it comes down to at this point in the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a chance to go down to San Antonio this past weekend and watch a little high school basketball as the Dallas Metroplex. Let's talk. You got to give the best kids in the state of Texas credit when 3 teams are winning out of the Metroplex in each sport. Okay? Mm-hmm. High school football, high school basketball, those kids out of that DFW Metroplex have been putting on a show in a clinic. So
you got Coach of the Year.
Huh?
Corey Chisholm won Coach of the Year.
I saw that. And he had a better season for the first time in 8 seasons, right? Mm-hmm. And as I was explaining to a man from Houston, he was asking, was Kimball the best team in the Metroplex? And I'm like, listen, Duncanville is not even eligible to get here. Like, Faith. Huh?
And DeSoto was there and lost the last night.
DeSoto was there. Like Highlands was there. Kimball won. Faith Family won. Some of those kids off that Faith Family team was off that Duncanville team. So to see the tournament, right, to see the young kids out of the Metroplex and from all across the country get their shine, get their moments, position themselves for draft pick opportunities, kids that we hadn't seen, kids that are going to slide in there and continue to get better. Mm-hmm. That's the glory of the tournament at this point, just to see. There's so much I feel like we learn and so much excitement, as you said. So win, lose, or draw, it's going to be a good time. Good time. So speaking of Texas, so we know in the middle of early in the season, Texas head coach Chris Beard, that was formerly at Texas Tech, had a domestic violence situation that he was arrested for, and Texas eventually let him go because everybody now has personal conduct policies in place. Mm-hmm. But it was announced today that he will be headed to Ole Miss to coach down there. But that created an opportunity for Rodney Terry, who filled in for Chris Beard. And Texas was having good momentum to begin with. And now
he won Coach of the Year of the Big 12, didn't he?
Huh?
Didn't he win Coach of the Year of the Big 12?
I don't know if he won Coach of the Year, Mr. Shaw. Now you asking me too many questions. Like, now let me see to Google it. But it gave him an opportunity for a black coach to get that shine. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't named Coach of the Year, but he was a finalist.
Okay.
You're absolutely right. He was a finalist for Big 12 Coach of the Year. So shout out to Rodney Terry having an opportunity to lead Texas in the tournament. Unfortunate circumstances for Chris Beard because you hate to see people get their advancement based on someone else's fall over, but unfortunately that's just how life works. So
Sometimes they come up with somebody else's damn fault. It ain't got nothing to do with you.
yeah, it's not personal. So, but I'm rooting for all the black coaches in the tournament. I am. I want to see them win. So that's what we got on that aspect of college basketball. Mr. Shaw say catch him after 32, getting into 16. No predictions before that time. The women's tournament will be going on the following week. For those of you who didn't know, listen, Don Staley, I'm rocking with South Carolina the entire way. Don Staley, South Carolina. Now, I'm not going to lie. Kim Mulkey down at LSU and Angel Reese. I like Angel, but they ain't got it for South Carolina.
Yeah.
Tennessee, the problem becomes with the SEC with, I think 7 girls teams got into the tournament out of the SEC this year. And it's hard not to.
See Florida
With,
and Kentucky fighting?
huh?
Did you see Florida and Kentucky fight?
No. What?
Florida Kentucky girls got the fighting last week. Week before last, 1 or 2. It was the week before last, I think. But it was in the middle of the game. Girl from Florida kind of, she elbowed the girl for Kentucky in the face, and not the girl from Kentucky got it. The girl from Kentucky elbowed the girl from Florida. The girl from Florida also had a sister on the team. She threw the ball at her. The ball missed her, and then the girl. That's what made the girl from Florida real mad. She threw the ball and she missed. You know, women get mad when they throw something at you and they don't hit you. So she attacked her, but they ain't fight, but it was an altercation in the middle of the game. Like the game had to stop for like 20-something minutes.
And there were 8 players ejected. It's the intensity, right? It's
you trying to get in because both of those teams need to win to get in. And
and they're coming out of a tough conference, right? South Carolina, LSU, Tennessee were undefeated until LSU beat Tennessee, and then they turn around and beat them in the tournament. Then Tennessee turn around and beat LSU in the tournament. But the way it's looking is just ain't nobody tough enough for South Carolina right now. No one's tough enough. A lot of these girls are seniors. We may see a change of time. But Don Staley has won 7 of the 9 last SEC tournaments coming out of the SEC. It's Don's time. She's one of 4 active coaches in women's college basketball that even has a title. Because all of the titles have been in women's basketball since we can remember, between UConn, now South Carolina, Tennessee, Notre Dame got one, and Baylor. So her, Kim Mulkey, and Gino have dominated the last 20 years of women's college basketball. So, as you said, for a team like Kentucky, for Kentucky them to even be that competitive, right, at this point, that's the conversation I was having about what Texas girls are going into the SEC. Now, as far as women's volleyball that they own this season, the last 2 seasons, fine. But women's basketball is going to be a dogfight because you're recruiting, right? If my daughter's the best in the country, do I send her to Texas that's in the SEC, or am I trying to get her to South Carolina to Don Staley?
It really don't matter because you got the transfer portal.
Well, the transfer portal works if you're great. If you're subpar, it leaves them to hang.
No. I mean, again, I just told you about a kid from Kentucky.
But he was great, right?
I don't know.
But you're talking about a kid coming out of
Kentucky.
Yeah, but you had to go to, in order to get on a Kentucky roster, you got to be pretty good. You understand what I'm saying?
But you average 2 points. The transfer portal works for you when you have talent. It's not, you don't got to be the most talented, but when you got talent.
I think in basketball, it can work better than football. And what I've been reading in football, a lot of the kids who aren't.
I think it's more kid, because think about it, it's more they have more scholarships for football.
Yeah.
So I feel like there are more kids that hit the transfer portal than they do in basketball.
Right.
But again, these kids are they're not win now. They are the what's best for me now. Right? That's
And I'm
that
not mad at them for that.
I'm not mad in the book for a lot of them, they just keep transferring. If you transfer out of two programs, it's you.
100% agree.
Like one transfer, cool. Two transfers, three, like each year you at a new school, unless you a free agent, you know what I'm saying? And the NIL deals calling you, then do your thing. But I don't think it's allowed to do that. But my personal opinion, these kids are so weak. They feel like if it don't go my way, I'm gone. And I'm not saying this because Kentucky didn't had more kids transfer, but I understand why. You feel like
I don't like to
it's
use the
somebody
word.
else coming. Again, for one thing, it's somebody else coming. I might not get on the court, and I think some of them be afraid. Like, I don't want to. I don't want to.
I won't say weak. I'll say afraid. I think that we have not placed them in high volumes of competition early enough where they have to learn how to battle, right? Because I can play on a different AAU team every year. I can go to a charter school. I don't have to compete at my high school because there's a charter school in the city where I can go be the star. I think we don't teach them the importance of competition early on. I don't think it's weak. I think it's not being taught.
If you don't like competition, now don't nobody got to teach you to like competition.
Well, it does, because if you move your kid,
you telling me these kids don't like competition, I bet you they be talking shit.
But if your kid, right? Let's use your kid example, right?
No, we're not gonna use my kid because you got to. I stated this the other day. I told my coworker Larry, if Nate plays sports, he don't have to be the best. He don't even have to be good. As long as he's having fun. If Eliana plays, we're not doing it. She's not good. Now, so take my kids out of this.
Well, the reason I said your kid is, right?
Do
That's like your kid telling
Do you
me.
not think these kids be talking shit on the court?
I do, but I don't think that the parents are having conversations like we're having.
You can talk shit, you like competition. That's
but they're not preparing them the way we are. You're already saying, like, we agree. You know, if I show up at your daughter's soccer game and she's playing in the grass, we're gonna all be in agreement. We ain't doing it.
No grass.
Let's do something else.
We done. Yeah,
right? Because we're already like throwing the ball and catching the ball with her, right? Because we're competitive. So we're teaching her now to compete. We're not going to
You're giving them an excuse.
I'm not giving them an excuse. I'm just saying she can't call me and say, my dad is not letting me transfer to the charter school in the city because I didn't make Cedar Hill High's basketball team. And I'd be like, oh, okay, niece, let's transfer because you was balling in AAU and you the star. I'm going to say, what can you do to get a position to start, right?
We're not talking about her. We agree on that.
Our mindset is different.
I'm talking about the parents. I'm talking about the rest of these kids and not the one transfer.
I'm talking about the parents, though. Like, right? Competition.
You can't talk to them because they don't understand.
And that's the reason why the kids don't understand.
What's the kid?
But I can't understand when they've made sure I've been on the best team and the only star.
You a coach, right?
Yes.
If you got a player that's kicking that shit when y'all look, but when they get tough, they get quiet, are you not gonna say, I don't want to hear that shit no more?
Well, yeah, because I've already told my 10-year-olds that we're not front runners. If you're gonna be consistent, right? So if you talk that talk while we up, you better talk when we down. I better hear something because I don't coach front runners. I am a coach teaching 10-year-olds that you're not front runners. I teach my 10-year-olds.
We up 20, y'all popping. I need to be us down 20. Y'all like, hey, it is what it is. Come on,
let's go. Right. And we don't get to have, my girls can't have outbursts. My girls cannot walk off the court without shaking people's hand. I teach that as low level intensity of competition. My 10-year-olds know you don't play unless you're competing. You are competing for a spot. I know that your parents paid $1,200 for you to play. But I cannot sit the girl who's out working you down just so that you can have more minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get you in when it's conducive. When I get down and I see that you're not making a big play for me, I got to ride with the kids that's going to make the plays. I teach that at 10, right? So what you and I are saying is the same. That's the reason why I'm blaming coaches and parents, because as an AAU coach, we don't tell our kids that, so it's ingrained in them. They're not going to team hop. I teach my parents about loyalty to clubs now. Like, if it's a good fit for your kid, make sure you're not moving your kids because it's not going the way you want it to go.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you're moving your kids because, okay, my kid is literally not getting an opportunity here and it's personal. There's a difference in competition. So I watched one of my girls from last season. She wasn't a girl that played all the time, but I saw her talent level, right? Like, you ever seen a kid that's got the perfect form, perfect technique, is always in camp. You know it at 10, it's maturity and it's not clicking. But I knew this year it would. And so I used that kid as an example where that kid served 18 like 2 weeks ago. She served 18 in a row. That kid may have didn't. There's a lot of things that are transpired, but she's working hard. So I blame parents for not telling their kid, as you said, when they go in the portal the second time, like say, run it back. Like, what's the problem? Why is it that you're not able to play here? Could you work harder?
You're afraid of competition.
Do you need more one-on-ones?
They're afraid of competition.
But that's what you're going to get if you go to the professional level, is you're competing with somebody for a spot.
They're mentally, they already out of going to the league, in my opinion, because you're again, somebody every year they drafted somebody to get you up out of there.
That's called life.
And people don't realize you can't be subpar. Like, you could be a little lackadaisical when you have like talent,
extraordinary talent.
How hard work beats out talent when talent doesn't work. But if you got work ethic and talent, you can slack. You can have an off day. Nobody finna talk to you. Nobody finna say nothing because they know what you bring on a consistent basis. But my thing to our kids is like, if you get to a school and it's either an environment you didn't like, you're too far away from family, you try something you didn't like it, cool, and then you go to another place and you like it and you're cool. But if you 2 or 3 times, it's like relationships. If every relationship you having the same problem with people, it's not them, it's you. It's you.
I 100% agree. And a lot of times is we don't teach our kids to check their ego, and that's the reason why I blame the parents. Because at the end of the day, when kids are, because these kids have gone from AAU team to AAU team, there's no different. These kids also club hop, like being immersed back into coaching, and you see these other coaches recruiting, like you hype these kids' heads up. My kids all know they ain't really that good. You're 10. Everybody should be in open gym. Like, we got an off week, I text the parents. Like, if your kid ain't in the gym, if your kid don't hit the gym at least once on their own, it's a you and your kid problem. If your kid transfers, as you say, every year, well, quit choosing an environment. Why are you choosing those environments to begin with? Where is your consistency? So, the portal, I think, is a good thing, but I agree with you. If we're not teaching our kids to use it when there's just you, I don't think you should be held back. But like I said, I don't think you should run either all the time. At some point, you got to compete.
I think he's afraid of the competition.
Very possible. So speaking of competition, Mr. Shaw, last night during the Oscars, the great Angela Bassett was up for an Oscar for supporting role, and she was beat by Jamie Lee Curtis. For those of you who may not know, Scream Queen, that's what I know her from, because I don't know nothing else Jamie Lee Curtis has done.
You mean the Friday? You talking about the Jason movie? I mean the Friday After Next.
Friday After Next.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Friday After Next.
Yeah, I mean Friday movies.
I thought it was the Scream movies.
Nah, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Okay, you would know better than me because you watch.
Yeah, I'm tripping. Jamie Lee Curtis' big brother is Michael Myers.
I mean, if you say so, Mr. Shaw. All I know is that. Okay, I'm not gonna share what I know. I have to.
Yeah, Michael Myers. I ain't tweet. Yeah, for sure.
I say what I say, Mr. Shaw. I know you would know.
Yeah. I mean, Michael Myers. Look, I don't like scary movies in the first place. But Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, I grew up on them. That's it. All of the new stuff, it don't like you, because you can't give us a killer, a any of that. So it's like so yeah, Michael Myers, yeah, Michael Myers. I know Jamie Lee Curtis
Well,
is.
I said you would know better than me. All I know Angela Bassett. You understand where I'm going with this?
I got you. I know Angela. I know Angela.
Well, I know you know Angela, but I'm just saying I know Angela. I can give you Angela's resume. I can't give you Jamie Lee Curtis's.
I
But
oh, ooh, ooh.
but I
Yeah.
know I know Jamie Lee Curtis is iconic. And so last night during the Oscars, during the nominations, they split screen and you can see, all of the nominees' face, and Twitter went crazy about Angela Bassett's reaction of not cheering loud and celebrating as if that's her friends.
Mm-hmm.
So the conversation isn't about her losing. It's about, for me, at what point are we going to realize that as Black women, we don't owe you our sympathy. We don't owe you our congratulations. Because had Angela Bassett won, do you think Jamie Lee Curtis would have been like, "You go, girl"? Do you think that would have been her reaction?
I don't think so. I don't think there's nobody reaction when they lose, and I don't think, for my personal opinion, I don't feel like Angela Bassett was wrong. Like, I'm not supposed to be happy I lost. In no scenario, no situation. I lose in 2K, I'm pissed. You know what I'm saying? So I don't I don't think Angela Bassett was wrong at all. Anybody, my opinion is I feel like a lot of people, bloggers, because that's what they are, they get paid to blog. Right? That's why I could never be a blogger. You're just giving your opinion. You're not even giving facts. You're giving your opinion. And you're not like even like these movie reviews, Rotten Tomatoes, like I don't care, bro. Like that's why I'm gonna start giving my opinion and doing reviews. The same stuff I'm seeing people do who are entertaining in their own way, I'm gonna do. Because y'all talking about the Academy Awards and Angela Bassett not being excited for Jamie Lee Curtis. How many times y'all seen them in a movie together? What is Jamie Lee Curtis and Angela Bassett relationship? If Angela Bassett and Jamie Lee Curtis, they both been working for a long time. They both been working for a long time. Michael Myers, Fridays, they become not Friday, that's Jason. Uh Halloween, that's what they call
There
Halloween.
you go.
Halloween's been coming out for a long time. Angela Bassett was Tina Turner, and Lawrence Fishburne was Ike many, many years ago. Neither one of them got a Academy Award for that. They was acting like Ike and Tina for real. For us who ain't never seen Ike and Tina act up, we know Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne is Ike and Tina Turner. So just let's be honest. So when they say that,
Or Bernadette when she burned that car up, when she lit the match and waiting to it.
I ain't really just know. My favorite part of that when he told you raggedy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's me, but I don't think it should it shouldn't be a conversation. We shouldn't be having this conversation. That's my opinion. Because why are we talking about this? Why are y'all?
Because our
No, I'm not talking about us,
but
but I'm
no,
talking about
everything
people.
that we do as Black people is constantly being scrutinized. We are supposed to be happy. We are supposed to be supportive. Only us. No one is supposed to cheer for us but us, right? And then they'll say, "Well, why do you have to say Black girls are magical?" Because when we win, we are going to celebrate each other as loud as we can. Had Angela Bassett won last night, every Black woman in the room would have been standing on her feet cheering for Angela Bassett, the same way we cheered for Halle Berry, the same way we cheered when Denzel won, and Will Smith and Spike Lee, because we never are honored and recognized for the performances that we give. So when we say that, or the conversation of Oscars too white continues to be the conversation,
Mhm.
what do we have to do to win? Halle Berry had to show her ass to win. Denzel was applauded for playing a street cop. Denzel has been immaculate in so many movies.
Not that he wasn't immaculate in that.
Right. But you only choose certain things to give us our awards for. Angela Bassett's delivery of that line in Black and Wakanda Forever was so powerful because it goes back to what we deal with every day.
I ain't feel it.
You didn't feel her words, or you
Mm.
didn't feel the spotlight on women in the movie, because that was your issue.
Nah, it was no. It wasn't women in that movie. It was women in the phase. It was the whole phase. It wasn't Wakanda. It was the whole phase and how women were better than everything men did. I didn't have a problem. I had a problem with how King Ramona ran the country. She was powerful. She's Angela Bassett. Like she she's perfect in her role, right? I just didn't like how she managed the country. But you can't take away from her acting ability, right? But one of my favorite rappers, Don Tripp, said, "My oh my man, the Oscar's so white. I know Academy Awards, Oscar, Emmys, y'all all get the same treat. It's not meant for us. Like Macklemore was winning Grammys, like
Rap album of
Macklemore,
the year.
you know what I'm saying? Like, no, like
And it's sad, because you say to yourself, right, when you at the highest tier, there are things that you should be able to aspire for, right? But
not.
in reality, I would just tell people as they go up, understand, let us love you. We've been loving on Angela Bassett, and I felt like Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan
He made
saluted
it
the
hard for them.
queen. Huh?
He made it hard for them because he probably got two more movies coming out this year.
Right. But did you see what I sent you, where when they
Yeah,
came back on
I
stage,
seen it.
they
I
said,
seen it on Twitter early in the day.
I see,
Then you got people like Joe Budden calling Michael B. Jordan corny, and then I don't feel like that's an attack on the culture, but none there. I have no problem with any man that likes men. I say this before I say this. Matter of fact, I might set my camera up to edit this. No, I say this before I say this. I have no problem with men who like me. But Joe Budden, you call him Michael B. Jordan corny because he checked someone who tried to play him. You supposed to do that. Don't never let nobody play with you. Oh, why you want to talk to me now? Why you want to talk to me now?
so
Right?
so twofold, right? And I see your point, but here's my point. Twofold, right? Joe Budden is corny. I think that in our culture,
Put penis in his mouth. I don't care if he. I'm not calling him corny.
I just think some of the things that he does as a man is kind of corny, and it's not in the
I
same
see
way.
people ask you, "Do you put penis in your mouth?" And why does that matter? Well, if you do it, say it.
Well,
That's corny.
that he won't own
Yeah,
who he is what
yeah,
you're
that's
saying.
corny.
And
Like if
see,
you
for
do
me,
it, do
it's
it.
the way that sometimes I think what makes a man corny is the fact that you come after other men for being who they are and their truth and their authenticity, right?
He
I
ain't
feel
touched
like
a woman. He said, "I know you don't know. You said I was corny in high school, right?"
I thought it was petty, but petty is always good though, right? I felt for Michael B. Jordan to be on the plateau that he is, and for her to do it in that capacity, it's his preference. I wouldn't have done it. I would have like scheduled an interview and went on her show to remind her, right?
Nah,
Because
see
I
see, nah,
because you know why? Because
that's
because I'm
cold
that
blood.
kind of petty, like,
That's cold
right.
blood.
But
Michael B. Jordan was nice. You were gonna be mean.
I also understand content, right? I also understand numbers. I also understand good stories. I also understand forgiveness and growth and lessons in this culture
Mhm,
as Black people that we have a responsibility to teach. And I
mhm.
think that him calling her out on the carpet is a reminder that success follows a lot of us, and we may just end back up in the same place,
That's
right?
like three people.
And so Michael B. Jordan is corny compared to what high school boys probably were, but that's fine. He's corny and great at what he does. It's okay not to be that guy, right? Jonathan Majors, I'm sure going to Cedar Hill High School, he wasn't that guy.
My boy was in ROTC.
I'm sure he wasn't that guy, right? But who you are in high school, as I tell my kids that I teach every day, has absolutely no bearing on who you're going to be in life.
It does.
Okay? So we should
You
teach
know what?
our.
My choice is clear.
You say what?
You don't got to worry about nobody becoming big and famous and never saying you mistreated me or you. I don't got to worry about that. I
Well,
got no fear.
I can't tell that lie.
Yeah,
But I'm willing to hash it out with anybody who wants to have a conversation, because adult me is not 16-year-old me. Okay? Adult me is not 16-year-old me. And
yeah.
that's why I felt like I'd have been like, yeah, girl, I do know you. Let me holler at you. Tell your people to call my people, and I had my people call her people. So I could have did a whole show. right? Because it's a teachable moment. And as you said, hopefully because of the way he nicely called her out, it was a teachable moment. For me, with Joe Budden, I just think a lot of the things that he does is corny.
I ain't never paid him attention since he made music. So
But I don't even know what song he made.
pump it up.
Oh, yeah. What year was that?
I was in high school.
Okay. So I think sometimes
I mean, Game ain't made no music since I was in high school neither, but I don't think he corny.
the Game did have an album came out recently.
I missed it. I don't think
Yeah.
he's corny though. Like,
Yeah, I just think some of the things that Joe Budden does and says and how he treats women, I think some of that is corny too. I think we mistake.
He treat women because he like men too. Do he treat men the same way he treat the women he
He
like?
probably does. That even made more so makes him
So
corny.
you know what? Then he mistreat people.
And
So
that's what makes people corny. Right. You following what I'm saying? Like if we do bad by people, we want to say men who treat their women decently are corny. We want to say men who try to have a level of self-respect for themselves is corny. As you said, people who do bad by people, as you look back on it, you're usually the one who's corny. You have the floor.
Let's be honest. Women prefer men that put their hands on them. I'm gonna start practicing wrestling moves on women.
What are you talking about? I'm sorry. What?
Women prefer for you to put your hands on them. So
What?
instead of me, I'm not gonna hit you or slap you like the normal man. Rock bottoms, stone cold stunners, pedigrees, tombstones. I'm finna go through all of the wrestling. I might even create my own wrestling move because I'm tired of dealing with women. I'm finna because again, I'm not hitting you. As long as I drop you on the bed, I'm good. All right, fellas, listen. If you're a decent man and your woman don't listen to you, you gotta put your hands on her and use wrestling moves. Okay, on the bed. All right. You might have to put in a crippler crossface. All right. If you need to get your respect across.
Don't tell people that because you are doing it in a playful manner, they will choke these heifers out. Like, no, Mrs. Shaw.
I do it in a wrestling manner.
No, Mrs. Shaw. No, Mrs. Shaw. For you. Let me go back. You've got to be responsible for your words. People may take it and run with it. You've got to put disclaimers out here for these dudes. They're a little.
You're right. So for y'all who don't understand, when your woman makes you mad and you don't want a domestic violence case on you, do a wrestling move. And in wrestling, no one intentionally gets hurt. If they get hurt, it's an accident. All right.
But does she know it's a wrestling move, right? Because is she defensive? Because right, when people are defensive, then people still get hurt.
See, look, if you don't need the defensive move for RKO. All you gotta do is run, grab a neck, drop it on the bed. That's it.
Can't grab people's neck, Mr. Shaw.
You're not grabbing the neck. They don't see you coming. Like,
but Mr. Shaw, you're telling people that, and they don't really watch wrestling. Like you really watch wrestling.
Time out. If you don't watch wrestling, if you didn't watch wrestling growing up, if you were my age and you don't know who RKO, you don't know who the Legend Killer is, you got something wrong with your life. Okay,
I don't even know who that is.
Randy Orton is a third generation wrestler.
Oh, Randy Orton. Okay, you got to give real names. Listen,
the Legend Killer.
It's too many things in my head. I don't remember all of these people.
We call him the Viper. We call him the Legend Killer. That's who he is.
I don't remember all of these things. You got to give me names.
Spear her onto the bed. There's not gonna leave no bruises or nothing. Spear Goldberg. Spear her onto the bed and get up and ask her who's next. That's all you got to do. That's it. Okay. Or you can hit her with the rock bottom, people's elbow, and then ask her, do she smell what you cooking? That's all you got to do to get your point across, and she ain't acting right. That's what I'm just telling you. Clothesline over the couch, she ain't paying. Clothesline over the couch. Get your point across.
You got to clothesline easily because that could be that could be dangerous, Mr. Shaw. You're doing like there needs to be an inflatable air mattress on the other side. I just see that going so many ways wrong. And please don't demonstrate those things because you will have your child clotheslining people. I can see
somebody all the way out.
I can see your daughter clotheslining people. Like I literally can see her practicing wrestling moves on people.
She was practicing gymnastics last week when I showed it to her.
Yeah, I show her them flipping. When she tries to act like So yeah, but anyway, Mr. Shaw, I'm not going
to High School Musical.
Huh?
She is built for a High School Musical.
Oh, she is. She's an entertainer. Speaking of entertaining, Chris Rock did something legendary Um, First Netflix streaming comedy show, live in person in Baltimore. Was everything that Twitter talked about. I am not a Chris Rock fan, but it was great for the culture. I'm always about people getting their bag. And that's the only thing positive I have to say about the show.
That's how you feel?
I don't think Chris Rock is funny. I just don't. I don't get his sense of humor. I don't think he's funny, but I'm gonna support the culture. Like one thing about me, I'm gonna support us getting a bag. Like so, yeah. I was streaming live, making sure that y'all understand the coins that you paid him. We paying attention. We watching. Um, yeah. If I was Jada, I would need Will to slap Chris for me. Because I'd pull up on Chris. Because at this point, you just need to keep my name out your mouth. His part about his daughters, I thought it was funny. Oh, spoiler alert. We're not really like getting into it, but just spoiler alert for those of you who don't know when conversations come about, that's what people do. We talk about what occurred. So spoiler alert. So that's me. I thought that piece on his daughters were funny. Um, I paid attention because of you to the flow of the show, right? When I've been watching shows, I've been paying attention to the flows, the intros, the outros, the transitions. I think that he puts together a really great show. I'm not impressed. I'm not gonna I don't need to pay to go see Chris Rock.
Can black people still not eat Papa John's? We still
I
black
don't
people,
eat Papa John's.
and they only want
The
the
pizza's
garlic,
good though.
and they got only want the garlic butter.
Yeah, that pizza is good.
I was totally off top. Y'all just seen that, but um, for me it was cool. Again, Chris Rock, everybody not stand up funny to me, and that wasn't Bigger Than Black. Bigger Than Black was hilarious to me. Chris Rock is hilarious to me, but I think the Will and Jada situation was taken out of proportion. He felt some type of way. I seen Marlon talk about it. I think Marlon's was actually funnier than Chris Rock's, right? And then I actually started thinking about Marlon Wayans, like, you know, Marlon Wayans probably one of the most slept on comedians because in a family where
A comedian.
you got two Hall of Famers, like hands down, no question that Hall of Famers, you might be, and I say that you might be better than Damon and Keenan, right? And again, not to take away from Chris Rock, but you're cool, Chris Rock. But Marlon talked about the situation and made it funnier.
It's 8 o'clock.
You know what I'm saying? Like Marlon talked about your situation and how, he wasn't he felt like he was right. Like I seen Corey Holcomb say the same thing, but he made it funny. I feel like Chris Rock they gave him the special so he could talk about it.
Like and that's how getting to your bag, right?
Mad at him for that.
And for that,
Marlon was funnier talking about it though. But Marlon Wayans.
And that's all that I'm saying. Like 100%, I think most of us supported him. I didn't think he was that funny, but I felt like, and even for Will Smith, right? What we know about entertainers and we've been friends, like some things, like you and I just said, some things are just simply content at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Some things are we get to our bag where we have to figure out how to play other people to make things work in our favor. And so for me at this point, it's all a joke in a game.
Not Will Smith gave Nick Cannon $200K at 18. Jesus Christ, Will Smith.
It's all a joke in a game. So I felt like Chris Rock did what he came to do. Mm-hmm. I feel like people were entertained. I feel like a year to the date, a great setup to make your money.
Mm-hmm.
Not mad at it. So that's the Chris Rock thing. FYI, since you said Will Smith gave Nick Cannon money at 18, Nick Cannon and Kevin Hart have Celebrity Prank Wars coming to TV. So I think that is going to be interesting with the two of them because they are best friends and they prank each other all the time. So I think it'll be like a Punk'd again, but I think it's great that we're taking everything that we do and turning it into content, as you and I've been saying. Because
that's the only way we ever gonna reach things.
What'd you say?
That's the only way we ever gonna get to the level where we're reaching people like Nick Cannon and Kevin Hart. You You got to show them you can bring the show by yourself for them to rock with you. You probably don't even have to have the funds, but if you can bring, that's why social media is so important. If you can bring the show by yourself, and I got an idea that I'm thinking about trying, but if you can bring the show by yourself, that's gonna bring people because they're gonna say he put this shit in motion by himself.
Mhm.
So if he put it in motion by himself, or they put it in motion by themselves, because that's the problem. Everybody be me. No, ain't no Michael Jordans over here. I want people with LeBron type ideologies. Ain't got no problem with Kobe and Michael, because I'm gonna be Kobe and Michael, because we're gonna do it my way, right?
But you got to have all three, right?
You
So
can't not. They cannot play together.
listen.
They
No.
cannot.
The mindset, right?
If Kobe didn't grow up wanting to be Jordan, he couldn't play with Jordan. But he could play with Jordan because he wanted to be Jordan. But two alphas.
But Kobe and LeBron played on the dream team on the dream team together.
That's the dream team.
Yeah. So, but
That's accumulation of.
Think about if we have
They having fun. They having fun while being competitive. I feel like because
Michael and Kobe, I am Michael Kobe, killer instinct, right? LeBron is diplomatic. I think makes people better around him. What happens when you get a person that's merged with the mentality of all three that understands how to be unselfish, but to still have killer instinct, how to work hard, how to give something that internally fires them up. Like LeBron is amazing, but we always talk about LeBron's killer instinct. As LeBron has gotten older, LeBron has shown like he displays it in a different way, but it's there. But if you get somebody that's got Jordan, Kobe mindset, and LeBron mindset all merged to one, you will have like teams would be amazing.
But you can't get that because it's too many. It's too much pride.
People are also sorry.
Pride always gonna be,
People are also just sorry.
I mean, well, pride always gonna be an issue, but I'm my whole thought process is if you're willing to work, I'm gonna put the work in. But I need people to realize there's no back and forth, there's no debate. Like we're gonna do it the way I see fit. You know what I'm
Right. So also in that, as we talk about, right, Kobe, LeBron, Jordan mindset, Ja Morant. Ja Morant is currently the topic of conversation for not the right reasons here of late, with the video appearing on his social media account with the gun and the suspension, and conversation has shifted from Ja Morant to T Morant. What are your thoughts?
I've been wanting to say something about this. T Morant, you have failed your son. All right, let's be honest. Regardless if you ever thought you was gonna reach this magnitude, or you ever thought you would see this type of paper or notoriety, the fact that you're not telling your son, chill out, bro. Chill out. Like it's you his partner. You're not his daddy. You being his partner. So for him, he doing you right there doing what he doing. You was probably in the car when he posted it. Cause it ain't no way that he think this okay if you talk him better. It ain't no way that, again, you gonna post the gun after we already talked about you that had the straps and whoop in the third. Like you right here. When they get into it with Shannon Sharp, you right there. You talking, you running your mouth. No. Because you shouldn't even been running your mouth then. Because you should have known then. All right, Dylan Brooks be tripping. This Uncle Shay, like, you know what I'm saying? Let me step back. You know what I'm saying? But nah, you was right there in the mix. So for me, T. Morant deserved more blame than Ja, because Ja just a kid. Ja doing what kids do. You know what I'm saying?
So can I play devil's advocate and you can get mad at me later?
Nah, go ahead.
Let's be 23-year-old you who's had very similar structure. Had you gone to the NFL, your father would have been very much present.
He would have been right there with me hanging out.
Putting on your shoulder pads.
He told me at a young age, he not my friend.
Right, but he would have been right there putting on your shoulder pads.
That's a bunch of no. No, T. Morant is not telling him that's a bunch of bullshit.
But
He
at the
ain't gonna
same
school it.
time, who were you at 23? Because even though you were being told things were foolish, you were still making foolish decisions as
Me and my
well.
daddy didn't have the relationship Ja and T. Morant got.
So are you saying because there's more of a friend relationship that dad should be able to make him do different? Because I just feel like male children, y'all have a tendency to
When you cool with your daddy,
push buttons and boundaries.
when you cool with your daddy, and your daddy say jump, you say hi, yes sir, hi hi. It's a different level when you got if you him and T. Morant, they like friends, and that's the issue, right? You could be cool with your child and still be lean and stern, right? I can't wait because again, this is my stepson. When he's 23, I can guarantee you right now, if he wild, bro, chill out. If I come over there and beat your ass, but Ja, T not talking to Ja like that because he's the breadwinner.
But how do we know that? You don't think that his dad, and that's my thing.
I
We
don't know
don't
nothing
think
about T. Morant.
you don't do we
I
not
didn't
think
check
that
his
he's
whip.
had those conversations with him
No,
about you don't think so at
T.
all?
Morant. I do not know T. Morant well enough to speak on T. Morant. But if T. Morant was having those conversations, he would not have been right there when they was getting into it with Uncle Shay Shay. He would step back, stay out the way. Wouldn't been holding nobody. He'd have been like, it's going on. It's this. We know how much Uncle Shay Shay talk. You be around the Grizzlies, so you know Dylan Brooks, and you know Dylan Brooks is an antagonizer, right?
Right, because at my age, for that 26-year-old that I raised, I'd have been like, if y'all don't go sit down, the whole team, right? Go have a seat. Why are you talking
You
to
were saying that
like
he was talking to Uncle Shay Shay.
go sit down? Go sit down. Like, right? And as a parent, right? So where I agree with you on it is go sit down. That's the level, right? Which sometimes makes people like us seem overbearing because I'd have ran up in, you know, I'd have ran up in her stuff by now. Like, have a seat, right? Friends need to be addressed. Homies need to be addressed. Guns need to be addressed.
Guns
Guns
not
are
supposed to
not
be
toys.
seen.
Huh?
Guns not supposed to be seen.
Right. It needs to be addressed. And you had a gun on the team bus. So illegal stuff that will get you put in jail. This is bigger than just basketball at this point.
All them
Powerade has
sponsors,
pulled
yeah, they pulled back.
Powerade, Coca-Cola is pulling back on endorsement deals. You are 23 years old with the ability to leave multiple generations of wealth for your daughter and your future children. My question is to the community, why is it that our boys always feel like they gotta be down? And that goes back to the conversation we had about Angela Bassett. Our kids never get to be, and it's because of the jealousy in the community. It's because of how society have set things up. But why do minority kids? Why do they have to have guns to be cool, right? Because then, other than that, Joe Budden gonna call them corny.
And I don't feel like there's nothing wrong with you having a gun. I feel like once you get money, you're supposed to have artillery. That's my opinion. I feel like once you get money, you're supposed to be strapped. You're supposed to have the shooters ride with you. That's how it's supposed to be. Even if they follow you, right? Like I feel like John Morant problem was he he got inducted into the Memphis culture, right? So the Memphis culture is, CMG, cars, money, guns, young dog, paper route, entertainment. Like he went to Memphis and is trying to live like the rappers. Right? It's okay to have a change. It's okay to be throwing the money in the strip club. But if you watching the big time rappers, they getting Thug on stuff. We ain't never seen Thug post no gun. Thug had to be one of the most away from the streets you ever seen. Everybody thought, you know what I'm saying? Thug been getting away because everybody like, oh, he weird. He like, yeah, well, I'm weird. You know what I'm saying? But and again, like they getting him because
Indicted.
snitches in the crew. But for the most part, they look at him like, oh, he on fashion week. He dressed like this. He a little weird. But again, him and YF and Lucci had the most, from what people say, the most dangerous quiet beef ever. I ain't know they had beef. And I'm deep in rap culture, right? I'm deep. I ain't know Lucci. And now think about it. I ain't never heard Lucci or Thug on the song together. I ain't never even it don't mix, right? So again, like I ain't never heard Lucci on a song with Lil Baby. I ain't never heard Lucci on a song with Gunna. And I then I'm okay, because Gunna Baby and now I ain't seen Gunna with Baby since he came home, right? You know,
Well, you probably not gonna see Gunna with most of them since he came home.
right? Because
now I know how you move.
The district attorney still want Baby, right? We know she licking the child like how I'm gonna get my hands on him. He just out here. I'm on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, but and so like you said, going back to that situation, what they have to understand is when people are sitting and waiting on you, they're sitting and waiting on you. And
why you post guns after we seen what Thug went through?
Because we're not always linking and making the connections. And as an educator, it gets harder and harder for me to do these shows because I feel like I get the kids a little bit more now. And the lack of what knowledge and information hasn't been provided to them, where there's just a limited amount of understanding. And I hope for Ja Morant that he takes this lesson as the biggest life lesson for him ever. And when he does his story, you know, because he didn't even really, like, he didn't do what Ray Lewis did. He ain't been, you know what I'm saying? He just posted a gun. Like, I feel like because of where we are in the society, he's taken a huge amount of smoke for something that's actually minor. But the blessing bestowed upon him is that if behavior can be addressed now, as you said, and understanding you are not a Memphis rapper, you are a Memphis legend in basketball.
He just checked into a facility in Florida.
For what?
You gotta look at Bleacher Report because he just came on through before we went on. Excuse me, everybody.
Are we checking into a drug rehab facility or are we checking into a mindful
counseling program? A counseling program.
Okay. Which is a good thing, right? Which I'm not sure why the teams don't. The problem is with the teams, people don't want to go to counseling because then y'all get their business and you are able to watch them and use it against them. Mm-hmm. But I would suggest for all young athletes to get into counseling on your own outside of the team, because counseling and life coaches help everybody make better decisions. You got a lot of money, you've got a lot of influence, you've got a lot of power, and that I can only imagine that crap is overwhelming. Mm-hmm. It's overwhelming. And I think that's the part we don't talk about for a 23-year-old. He's a dad. He's on the road. Contract negotiations. He's working on his game to be better, trying to provide generational wealth. Everybody wants money. Everybody wants this. Everybody's telling you what to do, right? So at 23, we know how scrambled our brains are to begin with. And I'm not making excuses. I just hope that this lesson right here is the smallest lesson he has to learn on this stage with this type of scrutiny and criticism. And I wish him the best. Because he's a young talent that has so much potential. Okay? And to wrap it up.
I can't believe people saying he was better than De'Aaron Fox. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
I think his notoriety of what Memphis is being able to do and more TV time, because Sacramento hasn't gotten the TV time with De'Aaron Fox and
they're number 2 in the West.
Yeah, like I said, they're not getting the
crazy.
Well, because the way contracts are set up, TV contracts.
Yeah,
Memphis was on the rise, so Memphis going deep in the playoffs. Memphis got deals.
Not deep. Well,
they went to the playoffs. Ja's been putting on spectacular shows, highlights of what Memphis has been able to build. Sacramento is not getting TV time, so people aren't even aware of what they are producing out there. We won't see it until the playoffs.
Denver don't get a lot of TV time neither, so it be like that,
right? So it's who's hot the year before, right? So just to finish, there was a clip from Warren Sapp where he was on the pivot sitting down with Ryan Clark and the crew, where he gave 5 rules that Tony Dungy gave them of how to stay off of the cover of the USA Today. And the reason that I want to address these things is because I think they're powerful when we come off a conversation about Ja Morant, but just in general, right? For young athletes and for young people. He said anywhere being out after 12 o'clock. Old people said, well, nothing open after 12, but what?
Legs and thighs? No, strip clubs and legs.
Basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Driving 15 miles over the speed limit, drugs and guns, alcohol, and women you don't know well enough, and women that you think you know too well.
Mm-hmm.
And I want everybody to think about that as we think about everybody who's had an incident where they wind up on the cover of USA Today or the New York Times or NPR. We talked about Chris Beard early in the show. We talked about John Morant. We've talked about um, most of the incidents that we've covered on Pull Up in the last 5 years have all fell in those five categories.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about that piece when you heard it?
When I first heard it, I was like, that every man need to know that who got money. Every man need to know that. Whether you're a rapper, you're an athlete, you're an actor, drugs. I'm heavy on the bro. You don't post drugs and guns. Like if you smoking, you in Cali, you having a good time. It's different. But posting the drug, the actual unrolled drug, not a good look. Posting guns, not a good look, bro. Not a good look for a multitude of reasons, but that put a target on your back, right? Women in general, like I say, women you know too well, women you got to be careful. And I'm saying this as a broke person, so I don't have money, I don't have those worries yet. But you got to be careful and selective with the stuff you do. And I feel like what men fail to realize, y'all got millions of dollars. You can have, I want you, I want you, I want you. Come back to my room. The way world set up now is, I when I want once the bag comes, the girls come back. All right, hey, so y'all know I like to record. So before we get this in, you consent, you consent, you consent. Yeah, yeah. And do I have y'all consent to record y'all? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Boom, let's go. Right? Do y'all want to be recorded while we doing what we do? No, no. Y'all said no. Okay, cool. Cameras off. Y'all do cool. Cameras on. Like it's all about communication. And what you realize, most people know how to communicate. But at this point, you gotta tell them, I don't want no rape case. Like, hey, yeah, y'all seeing we checking in, tapping in, me and her to go to the room. And you don't have to post it, but you have that record on file. If, oh yeah, such and such said you know what, sir? I have it documented. I got the documents. Receipts, all right? Memory cards, pull the memory. Everybody can have their own memory name on the memory card, right? It's just ways to protect yourself at this point. And every man with money needs to protect themselves from what happens to men with money.
So let's start trying to go away from just men, right? And the reason this was powerful to me is because it doesn't just apply to men, right? Brittany Griner has made the cover twice too. Did Brittany Griner not fall in both of those categories? Drugs and a woman.
Oh yeah, she did beat up her ex-girlfriend, huh?
Her wife, right? So when we're having these conversations, I think it's important that for coaches to take powerful pieces of information and gems and to spread those gems for our regular lives, right? I know God's grace and mercy has fallen upon me because the trouble that comes for women a lot of times is what? Men.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to learn how to take the whole message. And being out after 12 o'clock, alcohol is going to be a problem for anybody. Drugs are going to be a problem for anybody. Guns are going to be a problem for anybody. Just to take that advice and figure out how to apply it to our everyday life. Mr. Shaw, I think it's time to get up out of here. It's been good. I feel like we've covered a lot of stuff in the last hour. I have not seen Mini Me run through here not one time and say it's mine. So I say we wrap it up now before it's go time.
Okay, finna go. Ivory and India beefing. It's crazy. It's not my business.
Oh, everybody be beefing, but yeah. So y'all, you're watching
India. Keep my son name off your page. You big sloppy B word.
Mr. Shaw with the mess.
I'm reading what Twitter said.
Yeah, Twitter keep the mess. So, y'all, you're watching Pull Up the Podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. It's your girl, Candy K. Lynn.
And your boy, Shawtown Shaw.
Guys, enjoy your week. We thank you for supporting and always loving us. Until next time,
we out.
pull up.